Hi there, this is Kathy from TikToks, and today I'm going to be showing you a rather sweet version of the long tail cast on, which means that you don't have to estimate the amount of yarn that you're going to need before you start. As you probably know, it's really difficult to get the measurement right, and you often end up with too much yarn, or even worse, too little. And when you've cast on 100 and so stitches and you suddenly realise you don't have enough to finish and you have to do it all over again, it can be really annoying. So this is a really neat little way. You just need two different yarn. Well, here I'm using two different yarns just to show you which yarn is doing what, but obviously for the same project you'd be using the same balls of yarn, and either you're using just the one ball and you can use the end from the outside and the centre pull end together, or you can use two balls of the same yarn. Like I said, I'm just using two here to show you the difference between the two yarns, so it's nice and clear. So you start off with just your basic slip knot. There you go. You just pop that on your needle as usual. And this red yarn is the one that we're going to be calling the main yarn for your project, and this white one is the sort of extra bit of yarn that we're just going to be using just for the cast on. So you're going to place the main piece of yarn coming from the centre pull of your main ball over your thumb, and the strand of other yarn over your finger. I'm going to go nice and slow just in case anyone isn't used to this particular way of doing a long tail cast on, or aren't used to long tail cast on at all. So you just basically slip your needle under the piece of yarn on your thumb and over the white piece of yarn, the piece on your finger. You slip out your thumb, pull the pieces of yarn nice and tight, not too tight, just snug, and you've done your stitch. Do it once again. I'm just going to put on a few stitches onto this needle just to show you how it works. So here you can see you've got this first stitch, which is your slip knot stitch, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little stitches after that. Now you're not going to count this first stitch because we're going to be dropping it later, so don't count it when you're counting your total number of cast on stitches. I'll just cast on another 2 there for you. There you go. So now we have 8 stitches on the needle with your little slip knot. So I'm knitting here with double pointed needles, as you can see, but that's just because it's easier for the video. You can use any kind of needles, and this also works when you're knitting in the round. Of course, you just start from the other end and you just directly slip off that slip knot before you start knitting in the round. But this is knitting flat, so here we go. Just knit. Actually, you can cut off this piece of white yarn straight away, so you just leave a little tail there and cut it off. Gone, don't need that anymore. So you pick up your main yarn coming from the centre of your ball and you just knit across. Oops. Now that first one, you're just going to pull that cut off piece of yarn nice and snug so that the stitch doesn't stretch, and you're just going to knit across as you usually do, whatever your style of knitting, doesn't really matter. Knitting, purling, whatever your pattern is telling you to do, it's just a regular cast on. And you stop just before you get to the slip knot. Drop that off your needle, pull out your little slip knot. Yeah. And there you have it, that's the end of your cast on. And you can see it looks nice and neat. There you go. And all you have to do is just weave in 2 extra little ends of yarn when you're doing your finishing off. There you go, nice neat cast on, all ready to go. Happy knitting!